0 watching now. 0 likes.
Alright, guys. We're live. Before I start, let me begin by, Yep, my other account got notified. But anyway, before I start, I would like to say that I just changed my channel name to Music TTS and iOS. That's what my channel name will be.
0 watching now. 1 like.
Ooh. That's what it will be. Because, I'll be talking a lot about iOS. I'll be doing music lessons, and I'll also be doing some teaching stuff. Like, I have a science lesson planned for all the 9th graders out there. But this is the first time doing a live presentation. I don't usually do live presentations. I usually did my iOS presentations on video, but we're going to change things up here. We're going to do it live. I have been planning this yesterday, and the topic of this presentation is, did Apple intentionally kill the iPhone 4S? I got the idea, so if you guys know who 91Tech is, if you guys know who 91Tech is...
3 watching now. 2 likes.
Ooh, I got so many viewers now. If you guys know who 91Tech is, he is a tech channel. And he did hello, some orange. Hi, Rye Hour, of course. Okay. So if you guys know who 91Tech is, he is a tech channel. He does a lot of iOS videos, some of them controversial, and some of them, is it worth it to use this device in whatever year and stuff like that. He does those kinds of videos, like, I know, like 91Tech, Xenotech. I'm talking about 91Tech. He did a video 3 months ago called How Apple Killed the iPhone 4S. And he stated his opinion on YouTube. Well, I decided I'm going to put my opinion out there and show you guys with evidence to prove my opinion. Now, of course, you guys don't have to agree with me. You changing your name? Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's called Music TTS and iOS. It makes more sense now. So I decided to put my opinion out there. Hello. I decided to put my opinion out there because I feel like you guys don't have to agree with me, but anybody who does disagree with me, I will respect you. Like I do, I respect everyone's opinions. So, if you guys disagree with me, if you guys used a 4S and you disagree with me, I will totally respect your opinion. But I'm just gonna get my opinion out there and give you guys my side of Apple killing the iPhone 4S. Now, before I begin this controversial presentation, I'm gonna give you guys a question. Put all the devices using an A5 processor in order from newest to oldest.
2 watching now. 2 likes.
iPhone 4S, iPad mini, iPad 3, iPad 2, and iPod Touch 5. Put all of these devices in order from newest to oldest. Let me put this in the chat. I have to unlock my phone again. So,
watching now. 3 likes.
Processor. I can't even remember what I said. Okay, I just put them in random order, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Put all of these.
One watching now. 3 likes.
Put all of these. Put all of these. All of these A5 processor devices from newest to oldest. I will give you guys the answer at the end.
Finish. Monaco Deb. Simon Cotton. Hi, Lyman Lemons. You changed it. Monaco Dempsey. Hi. Actions available. Austin. I am back on iOS 11.4 on my iPhone. Actions available. Riley and Electronic Games. Question. Put all these devices running in a 5 processor from newest to switch camera. Button.
Oh god, spelling mistakes, really. Alright, I'm gonna give you guys the answer at the end.
Finish. 2 watching now. Finish. 2 watching now. 3 likes.
So I'm gonna give you guys the answer at the end. And let's get started with this. So, I will admit, so to start this off, I will admit that Apple did kill the iPhone 4S. But we're not just talking about the iPhone 4S. I'm talking about any device running with an A5 processor. That's the iPod Touch 5, iPhone 4S, iPad 2, iPad 3, and iPad mini. And that's the original iPad mini. So I will admit that Apple did do this, and that, here's the thing. To be completely honest, I'm mixed. Like, I'm in the middle. But I lean towards supporting. So here's the thing. I agree and disagree. I agree on some things, and then I disagree on some things. Let's start with what I agree with. I agree that, the iPhone 4S has been crippled on iOS 9, and, it flew on iOS 5 and 6. And, how, people just had numerous complaints of it being way too slow on iOS 9. And in that case, it definitely wasn't a good idea, because you are totally, upsetting consumers. Like, you're not getting a lot of consumer feedback from that. So that was totally not a good idea. Like, that, in that side, that's a total bad idea. But I disagree on the fact that, Apple should have dropped it on iOS 8, because here's the thing. Who here has used iOS 8? On the chat right now, who here has used iOS 8? If you guys have used iOS 8, do you guys remember how buggy that was? And I know one person who's used iOS 8, and they've been like, we don't talk about it. Why do we not talk about it? Because it was so buggy. It had lots of glitches, everything. And he's like, we talk about iOS 7, we never talk about iOS 8. Because iOS 8 was terrible. So what I'm trying to get at here is that iOS 8, if Apple dropped the support there would be
watching now. 3 likes.
There would be really bad. I would say the consumer feedback compared to how bad it was on 9, it would be worse. Because of those glitches, because of those bugs. So I'm not trying to, blast out at anyone here. But what I'm trying to say is that you wouldn't be saying that Apple should have dropped it on iOS 8 if you realized how buggy iOS 8 was. That's why he said, we don't talk about iOS 8. It's because it's too buggy. And if you guys thought about the possibility of it being way too buggy, then it definitely was a good idea to update it to 9. It was a good idea in that sense.
2 watching now. 3 likes.
Yeah, exactly. So you wouldn't be saying that if you realized how buggy iOS 8 itself was. Let's go forward here. Who has an iPhone 5S? Put in the chat if you have an iPhone 5S. Or pretty much any device with an A7 processor. I have an iPad Air, which I'm streaming from, that has an A7 processor. But think about this, guys. Apple, what did you originally think? Apple was going to drop the software support on iOS 11. Why are they going to continue it to iOS 12? Because iOS 11 also was buggy and was a complete bug show. So, really, yeah, but it had way too many bugs for so many people. And honestly, guys, if you guys think of bug-wise, how buggy the software was, it definitely was a good idea to update it to 9. So, any of you iPhone 5S owners, consider yourselves lucky because you are about to get 1 more year of software support. Consider that lucky because if they dropped it now, you would have much more negative feedback. And any of you iPhone 4S users could have also considered yourselves lucky as well. But at the same time I can understand because
3 likes.
but at the same time I'd understand because you at the same time I'd understand because you you have a crippled iPhone 4S on iOS 9. So my conclusion to this is that it was a bad idea and a good idea. A bad idea because you didn't make it run in peace and you got like a whole bunch of outrage from consumers about their 4Ss being too slow. A good idea because you cleared it from all the bugs on iOS 8. Next thing you know, iOS 14 is going to be so buggy that Apple's going to have to give the 6Ss 1 more year. You never know. You never know, guys. You never know. And to be completely honest, here's also my take on this. If Apple had promised that they would improve speed performance on iOS 9 and they should have kept that. But of course, Apple being Apple, they're not going to do that because what's their ultimate plan? They're going to force consumers to buy new phones. Now, of course, slowing down your phone is definitely not a good idea. Like that's not the best way to force you to buy a new phone. Because it's up to consumers, it's up to consumers to decide whether they can even afford a new phone in the first place. So, slowing down your phone is definitely not, like, they're still doing it now, but slowing down your phone is definitely not a good way to force consumers to buy a new phone. Like, obviously not. But, at the same time, if it was a good idea, if it even was a good idea, and if Apple did intentionally mean to do it, they honestly, could have, I think, reduced motion and stuff, they should have been just set on by default, or they should have, adjusted some, stuff, or gave consumer tips, of course. But of course, Apple being Apple, again, they're not going to do those things because their intention is to force people to buy a new phone.
1 watching now. 3 likes.
So my conclusion here is that it was a bad idea and a good idea. And the good idea part goes towards the bugs. So the good idea, just goes towards being buggy and sorry, I'm reading chats here. What is this?
2 watching now. 3 likes.
That miserably failed. Wait, what? Okay. So,
YouTube. Now. New from Badass Dudes. Zelda meets Elmo again part 3.
alright. So we're gonna go back to that question that I posted on the chat, which was list all the devices running an A5 processor from newest to oldest. The correct answer is the iPad mini, so the iPad mini original, iPod Touch 5, iPad 3, iPhone 4S, and the iPad 2. Honestly, I'm not towards Android. But, to be completely honest, guys, like I said, this is just my opinion. Like, I am just using evidence to prove that I'm just using evidence to prove my opinion. Kind of like in an essay, but it's not really an essay, it's just a speech. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning into my stream. This is just my opinion. If you disagree with me, I will respect your opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my other channel, Riley and Electronic Games. This channel is now called Music, TTS, and iOS. Because, you know, I put up iOS stuff now.